All right, some good news in Canada. The Liberals are in a tailspin. Throw the NDP in there as well. They're essentially the same. All the chickens are coming home to roost. There's some very good polling numbers, which I don't pay that much attention to, every day. But the significance here is it's not so much the numbers that the Conservatives are at 36%, Liberals below 30, NDP below 20, around 17. It's that you now finally look at the breakdowns and ridings are being flipped, right? So there is this weird scenario where, the Conservatives won the majority of the vote. They got 34%, the Liberals 33% last time, but the Liberals have government. And there's even a situation where the Conservatives get 35%, Liberals get 32%, and the Liberals still maintain a minority, parliamentary representation. The good news now is the projections are starting to increase the chance of a Conservative majority and Conservative minority. The Liberals are at about a 10% chance of winning a minority. Now, it's all hypothetical, but the importance is it's actually having real effects. And the other thing is, with the NDP being so small, it decreased, right? If the NDP was still big, right, at 25%, you could say maybe 5% of those people are just parking their vote at the NDP, saying, oh, I'll vote for NDP now. But then, as Canadians do, when they get to crunch time in the election, they say, oh, it's really between two choices. Do I want blue or red? And a lot of people do that. So the sort of orange to red voter is not as big as it usually is. So there's a lot of reasons here. And one, let's go from the old thing from back a couple years ago, at the end of the convoy, when this coalition was created between the NDP and the Liberals. What we said has started to come home to roost finally, I think. The NDP and the Liberals historically need to show that they are a separate party. It hurts both of them to be together because the NDP are known as the sort of the wacky socialist crazies. The Liberals maintain a large group of people in urban areas, let's say, fancy upper middle class white people, lawyers and such. They like to believe that they vote for the moderate party. It's part of the aesthetic, right, of this sort of Canadian elite, is you like voting for the moderate because you're very reasonable. You're just known as the most reasonable. You're above the fray. So the Liberals do very well in this demographic by being the moderate, and in order to play that, they need to, push themselves off the NDP. But joining forces, that undermines them, and also the NDP need to go with the, we're the underdog, we're the real guy. The Liberals are just this corporate. They're basically the Conservatives. They're all owned by the corporations. We're going to come in and we're going to try this new thing called socialism. It's going to kill it, yo. It's going to be sick. Check out Jagmeet. He's on TikTok in the shower doing this, right? That's the NDP thing. But now they're shown to be the same party, so the enthusiasm for these parties is finally dying off because, you can't be a hardcore NDP. The theology of a hardcore NDPer is, oh, it's so different from the Liberal Party. That's been busted. And the Liberal theology is, oh, they're the moderates. Justin Trudeau is not moderate. All right, so you have that. That's like the big NDP thing, which is an underrated part of Canadian politics, is how many people sort of park their votes at the NDP, then go to Liberal at the crunch time. That number is dwindling, which is a good sign. You also have the Liberals getting, slaughtered. They had to do a cabinet shuffle. Clearly, people got shuffled out, and people got shuffled in. My colleague Wyatt Claypool made a great point that people do understand that even though you shuffle the cabinet around, people still understand the failures with the Liberal Party and Justin Trudeau. It reflects poorly on the leader. He's very right about that. But we were right that Mendocino got shuffled out. He's been on the chopping block as someone to be thrown into the bus for a long time since the convoy because he got caught in a bunch of things. He's incompetent. It's not the only one. There's a list of 84,000 Liberals that I think are incompetent and can go out, but Mendocino was up on the list, thrown directly onto the bus, where he belongs. He was there while everyone else is getting thrown onto the bus and happy to take one of those positions. It was his turn, so cycle of Trudeau life moves on. So people do interpret that as like, oh, someone did get fired for incompetence, so that was like a win in the opposition circle. And the person they cycled in, they did cycle a few in, but, Yara Sachs getting a prominent position. She's most well known as the, how do I put this in a high-class way? The Aristotelian way of reference would be a ding-dong, dum-dum. This dum-dum is famous for getting up and saying honk honk and honking your horn during the convoy. That was a way of saying Heil Hitler. Note, at the exact same time, the Liberal Party was paying Marie Latouf a $500,000 a year to teach people about shooting Jews in the head, which Yara Sachs didn't have that big of a problem with at the time. Honking bad, actually trying to kill Jews, who knows? So this is your new minister. They'll all be shuffled again in a few months. Seamus O'Regan never gets shuffled out of cabinet, despite being the worst at literally every single job. That's a given. It's part of the tradition now. What department will Seamus O'Regan run into the ground? We find out. Which one will be next? Who knows? But all in all, this is very good. It does mean, I think, that there will be no election until 2025. I think Justin and Jagmeet will sort of tie themselves together to stay afloat. Jagmeet gets his pension. Justin Trudeau gets to say he did 10 years in office and then ride out into the sunset, get a job at the UN, being the new Greta Thunberg, only dumber and more annoying. Well, that's it for now. Enjoy your climate lectures from Greta Trudeau coming in 2026.